guys, it is TsubakiSwagg, and I'm coming to you with my review of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic manga chapter, which I can't think of off the top of my head, but of course it will be in this general area as always, of course. But pretty much, I did not review last chapter, but I did read it, so I do have an idea what's going on. But pretty much in the last chapter, Ren Cohen came to Alibaba came to Ren Cohen's palace to pretty much talk to him, and he didn't bring Aladdin along because he didn't want Aladdin to get captured or anything, because they know now that Aladdin is the Magi. So Alibaba went by himself to talk to Ren, and pretty much, long story short, Ren told Alibaba to cut his ties with Sinbad and the Sandria Kingdom and the Seven Seas Alliance and come to him, and if he did, he would let Alibaba pretty much rule over Balad. And Alibaba is kind of torn right now because he loves Balad. That was his country for as long as he could remember until he left. And then he's also still friends with Sinbad, and he also has a lot of, like, his master lives in Sandria, and a lot of the friends that he's made lives in Sandria, and he has a close, well, semi-close relationship with Sinbad. So he's kind of in a bind right now because he doesn't want to abandon Balad because he's seen all the bad things that are happening there, but he doesn't want to create bad blood between him and Sandria. And he also knows that if he leaves, well, Ren also did this because he knows that if Alibaba leaves, then of course Aladdin will leave, because Aladdin is Alibaba's Magi. So it's kind of a win-win for Ren, and he put Alibaba in such a bind because Alibaba is so torn between the two. So, and he can't refuse. If he refuses, then Balad is going to go downhill quick, and if he does, then it creates bad ties between him and the rest of the people in Sandria. So that was that whole episode in a nutshell. But I mean, chapter in a nutshell. But in this chapter, pretty much they show Mew talking to Margiana, and Mew pretty much tells her that he went on the same journey that Margiana went on to try to find the Fanalis Country, when she went down into the Great Rift and was running and came across Yunnan, but instead of continuing on, she turned back and went back to Alibaba and Aladdin. But unlike Margiana, Mew, after he met Yunnan, he decided to keep going because he just had such an incredible want to see what was really in the Fanalis Country, past the Great Rift, past all the darkness. And while he was running, he ran out of food and water, and the skin on the bottom of his feet wore off, but he still kept going. And when he was about to lose consciousness, this overwhelming power came over him, and he, instead of running on 2 legs, he started running on 4. And he finally emerged into the Fanalis Country, and he saw what a great world it was, and it was an overwhelming feeling because it was such a want that he felt so at home that it hurt. And this is when he understood that the Fanalis are really not supposed to be supposed to live among the humans of this side of the world, because they're really not humans. They're not human, but they're not creatures. They're kind of like a happy medium, a hybrid. So, but in that, he still left because he had things on this side that he needed to do, and he was too young to realize all the overwhelming, I can't even find the word, the overwhelmingness of being where he's supposed to be. But he had other things that he needed to do, so he came back. So he was talking to Margiana about this pretty much, and Margiana said that she was so eager to hear about all of this, and she asked him, she was like, well, what about all the other finalists that are in your company? Like, when you told them all this, how many of them left? And he said none, because all of them still felt like they had things that they needed to do on this side as well. So, and then Margiana was like, well, she was pretty much like, I can understand that. And then it cuts to Alibaba talking to Gyeokwon, which is Ren's sister, and like he was telling her, like he pretty much told her what Ren told him about not being able, like either like pretty much submit to the Kyoan's power and become, like, marry a princess under the Kyoan name and become king over Balibad, or pretty much start a war with them and still be allies with Sandria. And Gyeokwon was like, it just something, the energy around her changed, and she was like, well, he's like, well, I'm not a princess. And Alibaba realized that Sinbad was controlling Gyeokwon, and that was the end of the chapter. So I am slightly confused, but I'm looking forward to what is going to happen next, because it sounds like it's about to get real interesting, considering that Sinbad can take over Gyeokwon. So that was pretty much the end of the chapter, but I would love to hear what y'all think is going to happen next. But as always, please, please, please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And as always, this is TsubakiSwagg saying adios.